This is the Jack Murphy Podcast. Here's your host, Jack Murphy.
So it's going to be very, very interesting tonight. I mean, who knows? I had a theory this morning that Jimmy Kimmel would handle this one of two ways. One, he would come on and say, you know, upon reflection, I realized I said something that was very insensitive. I apologize for that, and then just go right back to bashing Trump. Or he just comes on and totally ignores it all and doesn't go back to bashing Trump, but tries to do a more mainstream show. I really don't know a third way to do it. We don't know who the guests are going to be. And I just found out within the last hour, which I did not know, Sinclair is still not going to carry the show. And Nexstar has not announced whether or not they are as well. So it could be that the same number of local affiliates are going to boycott him until they see what it is he's going to do. By the way, welcome to the Jack Murphy Podcast, America's newsman and my favorite actor, Alfred Trevette, star of Stage and Screen, is here today. What do you think's going to happen if you had to guess?
I believe he's going to play the victim. I don't think he'll apologize because he refused to do that in the beginning. And it could have been so simple to start the whole thing.
Yeah.
He could have said, what I said was insensitive. I issue my apologies to, the Kirk family, to President Trump by, some things I shouldn't have said. And we will do better. And everybody would have gone, okay. I mean, they would have been totally satisfied.
So you think he's going to play the First Amendment victim card?
Yeah, but I think if he does do that, that will be a very difficult argument because, as Bill O'Reilly said the other day, he said the First Amendment argument is pretty much dead in the water because then all you have to do is ask ABC, why over the last 3 years have you not had any conservative guests on your show?
Yeah.
And everybody has been parroting your same feelings.
I think there's one other thing that we have to consider here, and this is the corporate angle. If you take a look at Walt Disney right now, they have trouble on just about every front. Yeah. They have low attendance at their parks worldwide.
Yeah.
Their movies have not been doing what they used to. Their television division isn't doing what it used to do. They've got this huge problem with Jimmy Kimmel. I think they live in a liberal echo chamber. You know, most of their executives and Iger, they're all in L.A., and all they hear is the negative. But there's something else at play here. ESPN has huge problems. ESPN's been hemorrhaging money, and they fired all their big talent, and now they got into the gambling business. ESPN Bet is now the backbone of ESPN. It's not really a sports network anymore. It's a betting network is what it's turned into. So all those things combined, and now they got this NFL deal. So I think Disney was kind of put in a position where they might have to choose Kimmel over the NFL. One guess as to who wins that one. The NFL.
Yeah.
They want the NFL much worse than they want Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, I got up this morning early because I don't know why I woke up thinking about this, but I went online and I looked up the ratings for the Jimmy Kimmel show. First, I looked up the core demographic. It's 18 to 34. And he has around 250,000 18 to 49-year-old viewers each night.
Just 250,000?
260,000, and that's it. Total audience. Listen, I've worked at radio stations where we had bigger core demos than that.
Yeah.
I kid you not. In New York, we had bigger than that. San Diego, at one time, we had bigger than that. Overall audience, 1.6 million. That's everybody 0 to 100. Okay. That's nothing. And then I looked at this. Joe Rogan has 11 million daily viewers of his podcast, almost 10 times as much. So it's not like there's advertising.
that probably doesn't even include the people who listen to podcasts on Spotify.
I don't know. I asked Grok for the audience numbers, and it was 11 million a day. So those numbers are just absolutely crazy. Now, and the average age, here's the real knife in the heart for television. What do you think the average age of a network television viewer is today?
Is it over the 25-49 demo? Is it my age?
67.5 years old.
Wow. So they're going for the nursing home crowd.
So I don't even understand Disney's decision. For me, this was a no-brainer, except they're in that liberal echo chamber. To me, it would have been a no-brainer. God, we're losing $20 million a year on that show. Get rid of him. This is a perfect excuse. Put some cheap game show in there at night or some cheap variety show with some unknown, and let's move on from this debacle. Instead, they're putting at risk 130 of their local network stations that are not going to run the show to make a point with this guy who clearly said something false and very offensive.
Yeah.
And no apology to be offered. So I can't wait to see what they do tonight.
Well, I tell you what, we're throwing down the gauntlet, Jack, with our 200 and some odd. We're coming for you, Kimmel.
212.
We're coming for you, Kimmel.
212 as of this morning.
We're going to catch you here soon.
So there's a lot of things at play here. I mean, I wouldn't want to be Bob Iger, but I just don't understand why he made this call. And I think it's just liberal pressure and pressure that he was getting from Hollywood. Like, there's a big letter. I don't know if you've seen this, Alpha, but there was a letter that was distributed. Over 400 celebrities signed a letter, Alpha. Whoo! That really gets them shaking in their boots, doesn't it? Well, apparently it gets Disney. 400 celebrities signed an open letter by the ACLU supporting free speech and condemning Jimmy's suspension. Look, he had free speech.
Yeah.
He said what he said. What they don't understand, and Whoopi Goldberg said this, the president doesn't understand what the First Amendment means. I think he understands perfectly. He didn't suspend him. His own company suspended him. Sinclair and Nexstar suspended him. The president didn't do that. But occasionally, if you exercise your free speech and you're an employee of a company and you're the face of or represent that company, or they just don't want that kind of people in their company, they have every right to fire you, to get rid of you.
Yeah, the First Amendment gives you the right to free speech. It doesn't give you the right to host a TV show.
Yeah, and on social media, it's amazing the ignorance of so many young people on social media that we have First Amendment rights in this country, and they say, I got fired from my job. That's a violation of my right. No, it's not. You got to say it. You're not in jail. You're not in prison. You're not being tortured. They just don't want people working at their company that say things like that out in public. This letter that I'm talking about, Alpha, it was signed by, this is a little list I'll be keeping in my head going forward.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman, who the more I learn about him, the more I dislike him.
And on the other side, his sister is very reasonable. And you should see some of the posts that she puts.
She is. She's a producer, director now.
Writer,
what was her TV show she was on? Family Ties?
Yeah,
Family Ties?
One of those family shows. But she was,
Jason Bateman, Robert De Niro, no surprise, Jane Fonda, Selena Gomez, Tom Hanks, Olivia Rodrigo, Ben Stiller, Jamie Lee Curtis, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Michael Keaton. That surprises me. Yeah. Regina King, Diego Luna. I mean, the names get smaller and smaller after this, but and Weird Al Yankovic. Let's not forget
Weird Al, really.
So anyway, this letter's out there, and I'm sure it had something. But I will predict this. I think this will be the most watched episode of Jimmy Kimmel ever.
Well, I would probably agree with that, except for the fact that Sinclair stations aren't
Oh, yeah.
broadcasting it.
I forgot it's not going to be on in 150 markets.
And maybe not Nexstar too. I mean, maybe they won't. So you don't know what the universe will be of potential audience. So
well, it'll be on ESPN Plus or one of their 15 streaming platforms. So you can probably get it on. The news tomorrow morning will be millions tuned in to see Jimmy Kimmel exercise his free speech last night. They'll be saying that everywhere.
That will be the same thing as those who predicted that the stock will rise when Jimmy Kimmel comes back to ABC. Mark Ruffalo predicted that, and in that prediction showed a picture of, at the announcement, stocks rose, and then it started going back down again. So,
and he has nothing to do with the stock. If anything, Jimmy Kimmel is the reason the stock should be going down when he's on the air.
Right.
Here's another stat about his ratings I didn't give you. In the last decade, he's lost 72% of his audience. Now, I don't necessarily believe that that's Jimmy Kimmel. I think that the genre, as I said before, is dead. It's not relevant anymore in today's culture and society.
Well, neither is network TV. I mean,
yeah, exactly. That's why their ratings are so bad. But I don't think people stay up as late. And if they do, they're scrolling through TikTok or YouTube or some other social media, getting real quick videos like this, getting all amped up. That's why they can't sleep. The rest of us are sleeping like babies. But it's just not a place for it. Not in its current format where it's all political. I think if somebody did a really good variety show, like America Has Talent or something like that, in that hour, it might work. Or, I've said this before, if you could find a new Larry King type person that did really interesting interviews.
With the way things are going right now, I think a new Art Bell would be the perfect solution.
Well, I was out of town over the weekend, and I heard so many opinions about this podcast and about what we should be doing and ideas for the podcast. And I tried to write them all down. I was at a yacht club, so there was some alcohol involved.
Ooh, a yacht club. How about
but
you,
everybody has my cousin has a boat on the Tennessee River, so I was getting a lot of info. And they all believe it's dead.
What's dead?
The genre, the late night TV genre is dead, and they don't think it's going anywhere. And but again, these people were older too. They just don't have anybody in mind that could do it. I'm sure there's some young person out there that we don't know about that if you gave them that spot, a Mr. Beast or somebody like that, like their whole thing was, "Why not put Joe Rogan in there?" And I thought, why would he do that? Why would he do that? He works out of his house. He has 11 million viewers. He's making $100 million a year. Why would he want to go do that?
He lives in Texas. It's,
There's no way he's going to do it.
Doesn't have to go to. Plus, I think that over the weekend, you can't talk about things that's going on without mentioning Charlie Kirk's service.
Goodness gracious. Was
and the
beautiful.
way things are changing with the younger generation right now. I don't know if you saw this in the University of Minnesota. Now, you probably can't find a whole lot of more liberal universities than the University of Minnesota.
No, you can't.
There was a huge collection or gathering of people who were chanting Charlie Kirk's name.
I think one of partially the reason for that at the University of Minnesota, you have two very high-profile Catholic figures in that state that are drawing a lot of people to them that are internet famous. One is Bishop Robert Barron, who has a ministry called Word on Fire, and he's one of those. He's not young, but he's not old. I would say he's in his 50s, but he's not afraid to go on any podcast or any TV show and dialogue with anybody. He's one. But there's another one, a younger priest that I'd say is in his mid-30s, and this guy's really, really super handsome, great smile, great speaker. Father Mike is his name, and women are very trapped. But young people are, well, I mean, young women are attracted to him. It's not like some old preacher or priest or whatever. So
Right.
he's got a huge audience, and he's doing a thing called the Bible in a year, and it's for people who don't know anything about the Bible or believers. And every day he comes on and they read a little part of the Bible, and he gives a little lesson or whatever. But he's very easy to like, and I think he's attracting a lot of young people, and they're both based in Minnesota. So I think in addition to Charlie Kirk, that probably helps a lot. But that thing, that people lined up at midnight to try to get in to that thing was just amazing. And the speakers and the service. And then his wife forgiving the killer.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of talk this morning about there's a switch that young people are no longer considering the Taylor Swifts and people in her, like her, no longer the image of what they want to pursue. It's more now Nicole Kirk, and we want to be like her.
Well,
we don't want to be like.
I hope you're right. I hope that's true. Now, but on the other hand, I've seen some social media posts that were just disgusting.
Yeah.
Where people said, when I saw that get together, that's pure evil. Those, and I go, how could you call a memorial service for somebody who preached conversation, peace, God, family in America? How could you call that evil unless you yourself are evil?
Yeah, and I wonder what possesses people to actually protest something like that, or to.
I think possessive is the key.
Right,
possesses is the key word. That some of them are possessed.
Are those people who've destroyed public memorials? Just flowers and things like that, and they'd go through and try to trash it. And why? What
demonic?
What would lead you to do that?
I think it's demonic. And they arrest them, and they start screaming and foaming at the mouth. I think they're demonic. I mean, I don't know how else you describe it when and then, in the midst of this, where we have a lot of politicians are saying things like, "Listen, we need to bring down the temperature in the room. We need to bring down the rhetoric in the room." And then you've got others that are saying, no, we need to turn up the rhetoric in the room.
Yeah.
There's a Philadelphia-backed DA, one of these Soros-backed DAs in Philadelphia, who said, no, we shouldn't stop calling them Nazis. Listen to this guy.
Question was raised whether it was necessary to compare the MAGA movement to fascists.
It's 100% necessary. My father volunteered and served in World War II.
Mine did too.
In World War II. Half of my family tree is gone. And it's gone because of Nazis, and it's gone because of fascists.
He's saying half his family tree was killed in the war, or were they? He doesn't explain that, but that doesn't mean that these people are Nazis or fascists. They haven't killed anybody. In fact, it's the people that are calling them Nazis and fascists that have killed people.
Yeah, yeah, and those who seek to remove your freedom of speech,
right?
Those who seek to silence you. I mean, if you do that, then you're more Nazi than the people you're accused of being a Nazi.
But have you seen any big time Democrats or liberals condemn what this guy said this past Friday?
No. The only one who's doing it is John Fetterman.
He seems to be the only sane one. I don't know if it's the stroke or what, but he's the only one with any common sense now.
The guy that last election everybody thought was, gone, now is making the most sense on the Democrat side.
He was recovering from a stroke, and he's fully recovered.
Yeah.
And Obama, if I see him on TV, we never had this kind of stuff when I was in office.
No, of course not.
We didn't have this kind of violence. We
didn't have the IRS going after conservative organizations.
We didn't have any
spy
problem.
on journalists.
It was in fact, it was more Camelot than the Kennedy administration when I was there.
Black people, racism.
Racism. People don't like to talk about racism.
So the other thing that's pretty amusing to me now is how you have every Hollywood celebrity, every Democratic congressman and senator all saying, "Oh, this is terrible about Jimmy Kimmel. You can't silence people like this or whatever." And yet, go back to when Trump's first term was happening, and everybody was being deplatformed and, as you said, investigated by the IRS. It was all perfectly fine. Here's a montage of them all talking about it.
Shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
There are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they
pot calling kettle black.
whether they should
what
be
you mentioned is
civilly
still,
or even in some cases.
what you mentioned is still going on. They're still claiming that Charlie Kirk said things he didn't say.
Oh yeah,
and using that for this kind of argument to say these.
But here's
people
the biggest liar. Here's the biggest liar in American politics, who created a gigantic hoax to try to overturn election, talking about fake speech.
Criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
If people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation,
like the New York Times,
our First Amendment stands as a major block. It's really hard to govern today.
This is a matter of corporate responsibility. Twitter should be held accountable and shut down that site. It is a matter of safety and corporate accountability.
The First Amendment is not absolute. It does not protect any single thing anyone says. And there are limits, and that's important. And what
did I miss that part of it when I read it?
It must be in the very fine print.
Is there an addendum with some limits to it? Because I've never seen that part of it.
Because they would take a little quill pen.
This committee has been trying to do for the last year and a half is to chill the federal government from monitoring what is going on social media.
When you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Very clearly incitement of violence. I believe that when it comes to broadcast television, like Fox News.
Okay, you're an idiot. Because Fox News is not broadcast television. Yeah. She doesn't even know the difference between broadcast television and cable television. Completely different set of rules.
These are subject to federal law.
No, they're not. Because they're not broadcast on the public airwaves. They're only coming to your house by cable. You invited them in.
Federal
right, they're not under FCC.
In terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't.
So my biggest concern is that your view has the First Amendment hamstringing the government in significant ways.
Anyway, that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
That was all back from during the first Trump administration. Today, they have a totally different opinion of what is and is not allowed.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Alpha, would you introduce this next person, because I find her so distasteful I don't even want to say her name.
I think you're referring to a congressperson, Jay Powell, who
she's the one that said when Biden got elected not to worry about him being too centrist. They would get him in the right pocket to go in the right direction.
She is one of the members of the squad.
Yes, and she definitely doesn't like the First Amendment.
I've always been a free speech absolutist, even when I hate people's views.
Facebook has banned President Trump from its platforms indefinitely. What do you think of this decision and its timing?
Absolutely essential, but too little, too late. Should have been done a long time ago.
Wait a minute. Didn't you just say you were a First Amendment? Let's listen to that one more time.
I've always been a free speech absolutist, even when I hate people's views.
Facebook has banned President Trump from its platforms indefinitely. What do you think of this decision and its timing?
Absolutely essential, but too little, too late. Should have been done a long time ago.
I'm confused. How can you be a First Amendment absolutist and yet you want him banned? And it's too little, too late.
I'm not sure she knows the meaning of that word either.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
It's so confusing being an adult these days. The words don't have the same meanings they used to have. People don't hold people accountable for what they say.
Well, what they seem to forget is when they'll say something that there's video of them saying something just the opposite, not that long ago.
I guess that's the only way to explain it, because that's just dumb.
So that's the way you feel? Let's go to the video.
And why aren't we seeing, what kills me, why aren't we seeing stuff like that on the news? Why don't we see that video on ABC or CBS?
Well,
or that montage I played a while ago. Why don't we see that on the news?
That goes back to the steadily declining audience of the traditional network TV that we talked about earlier. You know, the viewership in general.
I think that would get them some viewers if they would start doing some stuff like that was interesting, where they catch these people lying to their voters. I think maybe some more people would start watching.
Well, it's gone to where does that fit the narrative of the message we are trying to broadcast, to get out? If it doesn't,
I guess,
let's not do that. You know?
Because some of these newer networks and Fox that are doing that kind of things, they're killing it.
Yeah.
They have massive audiences. Audiences are growing. Advertisers are all over the place. They're doing great. But the ones that everybody holds, in such high regards, these institutions of journalism, CBS, NBC, CBS, they're dying. Their entertainment divisions are dying. Their news divisions are dying. Their sports, they've allowed Prime and all these other places to steal their football away from them slowly, one game at a time. ESPN to steal
Apple
games
TV.
away from them. Apple TV. So it's amazing.
Yeah. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly where that began. I mean, when you and I were growing up, there was a half-hour news show at best. Sometimes it was 15 minutes of local news and then 15 minutes of national news with Walter Cronkite, who
I'm
always
going to say Dan Rather and Tom Brokaw. That's when I started to notice it.
That's what I was getting to when what's the frequency, Kenneth? Dan Rather.
That's when I really started noticing the bias.
Yeah, when it was like, wait a minute, you didn't tell the whole story here, and especially that he did that with when George Bush Jr., when the younger Bush was running.
He
for
made
president.
up a lie about George Bush Jr. And Walter Cronkite was a liberal. He was a Democrat and a liberal, but you never knew it watching him on TV. He was a journalist first.
You couldn't,
you
didn't
really
get that message until he had retired, and then he would say things not as the news director for CBS News, but as Walter Cronkite, the citizen. And you go, oh, wow, I never realized you felt that way. But, and he kept the news and not opinion.
Exactly. He was great.
And it was always, that's the way it is.
I'm Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
Now, Alpha, do you think that some of the older members of Congress are on hallucinogenic drugs?
It's hard to believe otherwise.
Marijuana, mushrooms. I used to think it was just the booze. I thought Nancy Pelosi was, on the vodka or whatever pretty heavily. But I saw a press conference. I couldn't even listen to what she was saying. She was babbling as usual. But in the background, that hideous Maxine Waters. Good grief! Take a look at her.
Injustice, and again, the food security issue. It's been spelling that out the whole time. I want you to know that we in the Congress.
She looks like she's on OxyContin, a heavy dose or something. Just
yeah. I don't know if you've seen this one. There's one similar to Al Roker. They're on set for the Today Show,
Mm-hmm.
and they're lined up outside and saying something. And someone mentions, I don't know if I think the word was a Holy Ghost or something. And Al Roker went into one of those same kind of trance-like things where he's staring for like 45 seconds, and until they cut away from the scene.
Maybe all those people are possessed. Maybe all of them are demonically possessed, and we don't know it, because they certainly do a lot of things that would lead you to believe that.
Maybe they've been replaced by robots or clones that glitch.
Maybe so. I don't know. What's that show on HBO about the robots that Anthony Hopkins and they're all
Westworld.
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 That thing got pretty wild.
Yeah.